Hello and welcome to the final part of the Elite Force 2 commentary. Spooky.
End of the line for the
What are
empty
we
crowd.
fighting Bowser
It's
here?
over.
It's just beginning. This is a fight you cannot hope to win.
Oh, is that the same guy that plays Wei Yun and Shran? Not Shran. Yeah, Shran. In Enterprise, Wei Yun and Deep Space Nine and Shran.
Your luck has abandoned you.
It is. I didn't pick up on that at first.
I have no idea, but cool.
You know, remember the Vorta clone and during the war, the really pale guy with blue eyes.
Oh, you mean the guy with like the giant fish gills on his head?
Yeah, and he kept referring to the changelings as gods.
So I guess I did get some kind of big actors for this game.
Like they got Star Trek actors.
Well, I mean, besides Patrick Stewart.
Besides Jean-Luc.
Yeah.
Kill him.
Kind of like how when you're a kid, you don't know the actors have names, so you just call them by their character.
Now it's hard to call them by their character, you just call them by the actors. It's like, oh yeah, I forgot the acting.
So, Commander Solvik
Wei Yun.
is a very simple boss battle, actually. He throws out these pretty different looking exomorphs. You know, they look more like spiders. We've actually never seen anything look like that. However, in a little pod up there, and he will open up doors depending, and somehow shoot from it. I don't see a gun on him. But when those doors open, you need to get in position, and the best bet is to use the sniper rifle. Does a lot of damage, and you'll bring its health down.
Why not the torpedo?
I don't know. I just didn't do it. Best bet: get rid of these guys first before you shoot at them, because if you're trying to take aim, these guys will get in your way, and they'll be really annoying. This is ridiculously easy. Luckily, it's not the very end. The only thing that should really be giving you trouble here is the little exomorphs that are gnawing at you. But luckily, they don't do that much damage, and there's plenty of health and ammo refills around the area. So as you can tell right now, just one more hit should do it.
Give it up, Soldock.
Not even
Master control facility is
scratched.
stuck in first gear. You need thousands of exomorphs. You only have a handful. You can't win.
He's a very quiet line right there, but he says, "But I've already won."
I've seen enough hentai to know where this is going.
I'm not gonna lie, when this guy first came out of the lava, I'm like, what the fuck?
It's
Even
kinda like-
Monroe has that fade. He's like, what the fuck? So now this is the real final boss. His name is Antro. He's the
Wait.
final boss. We can both agree to that, right? He's just
Yes.
the final boss.
Looks like it.
He's a little more challenging.
You're just another bug.
Yeah! Yeah, Monroe will shoot a little banner after he says some comment.
He looks familiar. He kind of looks like Bane mixed with some Doom enemy. Mixed with Spawn.
I was gonna say that his face reminds me of those, from the Star Wars universe. Those people who wear those metal masks on their face.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. No, he looks more like a... I have to see his face again. I've seen someone similar to him. He kind of looks like Destroyer
Destroyer. Yeah, probably.
from Godzilla vs. Destroyer.
All right, he's a little more challenging, of course, than Solvik, but his
You're still getting smaller.
yeah, he talks. He just spawns up randomly. You just gotta shoot him. You really have to avoid his attacks. That's the real problem.
So that's what you gotta do.
I mean, he looks intimidating, but You can really stand in front for the most part, and you gotta get rid of these guys, of course. If you really don't get rid of those guys, that's really where most of your damage is gonna take.
Don't shoot that point
Luckily, they go down really easily, and just avoid the lava balls coming at you.
I always try to avoid balls coming at me.
A nice little hint is that you see the little panels around that contain the health bars and the ammo. He tends to appear when those doors open. So.
You're just a toy of the Idril.
So when you wait, so if you just wait for those doors to open, just get in that proximity and you should pop up somewhere. I just like the fact that he's making all these comments and Monroe's like, fuck you, for every time he appears. He's belittling him no matter what.
Is he growing legs? Is he changing every time he appears?
I don't think so. He's actually shrinking. He's getting closer to the...
Oh yeah, you're right. He has less of those.
It's not a bad design. It's just, it's so random. It's like, why? Like, what made this guy so special?
Oh, he also looks like the aliens from Mars Attacks.
It's like, you know, most of them were brainless and the only one had a brain, but so?
He also looks like Lord Zed from Power Rangers.
Kind of weird when a creature that lives in lava...
Thumbs up. Oh.
Not so damn perfect now.
I think it's weird when a creature lives in lava.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, I know, it's the same exact ending from the first game.
Well, plus, I don't know if he would be able to beam out that deep near a volcano. I mean, they couldn't beam Spock out in the new movie because he was near a volcano.
I don't know.
An erupting volcano, which makes sense. It would be screwing up.
But I like it when bad guys who live in lava, and when they die in lava, they melt slowly, and it's like, no, I'm melting, but it's like, but you live in it.
Tolachon 2 is peaceful again.
At great cost.
Yes, all of your Romulans are dead.
Both suffered losses.
You suffered casualties to help Romulans. I will tell the Senate.
You can also tell them they didn't die in vain.
I'm sorry, but we did not take as much, loss as the Romulans
Are
did.
you sure the ruins were the work of the Idril?
The archaeological record is quite clear. The Idril had a star-faring civilization long before the Romulan Empire or the Federation.
And the Atrexians knew it. They covered up evidence of an ancient Idril culture.
Yes, a culture that decimated itself with reckless bioengineering.
That monstrous creature destroyed all the Idril colony worlds.
In their short-sighted quest for power, they unleashed a bioengineered monster they could not control. Other star-faring races ultimately destroyed the creature.
But not all the facilities.
Correct.
How is it any Idril survived?
It appears that a few Idril survived on a devastated colony planet. They lost their technology, but held on to legends of their ancient glory.
They're lucky not to be extinct. Our people might have met the same fate if the Empty Crown had succeeded.
Fortunately, you chose loyalty to the Romulan people over loyalty to the Romulan war machine.
Yes, you are a man of honor, Captain Picard. And now we must both exit the neutral zone.
Set a course for the nearest starbase.
Course laid in, sir.
What's weird though is that in this game there was never really a real indication that someone else was pulling the strings, because it just seemed like
The Enterprise could take them.
Conan, it seemed like the Idril Sun guy. It seemed like he was the one controlling everything, but when he tried to shut it down, it was like someone else had like the light switch on or something on it. You know what I mean? It still seemed like it was still his actions. It just seemed like that kind of helped link him to the Romulans. So life is all good, all well in the Enterprise E. I don't, Gerard, that's not how you sleep on a bed. Okay. Carbon's like, God, there's no one here.
Lieutenant Monroe.
Check out my
your
wang,
performance was
man.
Exemplary. The exomorphs posed a grave threat to the Federation. The Romulan government is also grateful that you stopped the Empty Crown from taking over and dragging them down in a pointless war. Your actions have not only saved lives, they have given the Federation a new opportunity to pursue peaceful relations with the Romulans.
I mean, the whole incident with Shinzon didn't do shit.
Apparently.
Riker was supposed to amend the whole thing. Riker fucked up.
You have every reason to be proud.
No one asked for your opinion, Tuvok.
I will recommend that Starfleet
Tired of your
establish hazard
opinion.
teams throughout the Federation.
Tired of your
We
shit.
could use them on our exploratory.
It's a shame that Tuvok was such a big character in the first game,
It's an honor to serve on
and
board
he was
the
here more of a
Enterprise.
transition character, but he really wasn't necessary to the
Enjoy your
plot
shore leave.
at all.
You and your team have more than earned it.
To be fair, Captain Picard's going to overshadow no matter what. But at
Yeah.
the same time, it's just like, why have Tuvok in the first?
Hi, Monroe.
No, this
beyond
is
the beginning?
yeah. This is one of two endings.
Thanks
You
for
could either
asking me to
be
dinner.
with Monroe or you could be with
You were afraid
Leia or
So,
Clea.
Since when are you afraid of getting shot down?
People say this is considered the good ending.
risks her life.
Why is she still in her hazard
That's
suit?
cowardly.
He actually makes a comment about that.
Cowardly.
My girlfriend would have to face the fear that I might die too. I can't expect less from myself than I'd expect from her.
Oh, Alex.
The armors
So,
do have a nice metallic,
ready
which
for
is
dinner?
pretty cool.
I'm ready to hear you talk more about you and me.
Shut up.
Well, you look ravishing in that hazard suit.
Why, thank you, kind sir. But I'm looking for a chance to power it down and slip out of it.
Oh? We've been wearing it so long, I thought it was a part of you.
Oh, it comes off.
Really?
It takes courage to find out. A
Whoa, dramatic zoom.
relationship's not an easy thing.
The most hazardous mission yet.
Is it because she's a she-male?
Yeah.
It takes courage to look at what's underneath this. What?
Kissing is still not really a thing that, we can really do very well. Even to this day, really. Can't really do that. There's something about taking two individual models and having them connect. It just doesn't
They
work.
just clip.
Essentially. I mean, like I said, as graphics get better, they'll probably do it. But, not many scenes require a kiss, so it's not something that, people really... Whatever, I know it's a weird topic to talk about.
That's still one of my favorite Enterprises.
It's a nice closeout shot. I mean, the whole little end sequence was pretty nice.
That fantail or whatever at the edge, it's not supposed to be lit up like that though.
And with that is Elite Force 2. So Eric, what's your opinions about it?
I like it, it's it was nice because at that point, early in 2000s, there was a bunch of Star Trek games coming out, and each one was kind of adding on to where Next Generation ended. Because for the most part, like Star Trek completely ended after Nemesis, and it didn't close out on a good note. Nemesis was not exactly, well, it was shit. And when games like Bridge Commander came out before, but that's an ongoing game that's still being modded. Elite Force 2 came out afterwards and kept the adventure going, and today is still being modded. There's still people making maps. So, I don't know, playing this game was kind of like what happened after the events of Nemesis, and it kind of kept it alive. So that's why I like this game. Even, I like first-person shooters, and this one is clearly no match for modern-day first-person shooters, but again, it's the adventure and the idea that I really enjoyed beyond it. What about you?
Yeah, I agree. Like, this is definitely clear. Like, you're right. Other first-person shooters probably do it better, but at the same time, this game is clearly more story-oriented than it is shooter-oriented.
Yeah.
I actually really liked this game. It was a lot of fun. I thought some of the levels were a little weak, in my opinion. Like, I know I made that comment a bit frequent, but I did like the fact that this game's presentation was bumped up a notch. Because, the first game was made in 2000, and, there's a big difference because at that point the engines changed, so they're able to do a lot more. So the story was able to come off a little more fleshed out. It was cool that they got Patrick Stewart to come in. I just feel that you can kind of tell that he's still pretty new to the whole voice acting thing. I think he probably did some roles before this, but at this point in time, either the voice director didn't do a great job directing him, or he just didn't put his all into it. I thought Monroe was really cool. The Hazard team was a little dopey. I'm sorry. I mean, I understand they're trying to make them all interesting, but for the most part, they were never
Korban kicked ass.
Yeah, they're never really around. I think the story in this game is not as good as the first games, in all honesty. I like it, but I like the fact that in the first game, it was a little more centered around your character. You know, you went from a guy who didn't really follow rules. He took things to his own hands, and you know, Tuvok scolded you on that. But you know, after your superior was taken, you were made leader, and you had to make those decisions. So it's a nice little growth. In this game, that growth, the story-wise, in this game, that growth doesn't really exist. I mean, there is a growth, of course. He realized that he can't. You know, he has to look outside of everything beside. I mean, he has to look beyond himself, even though for the most part. Picture? Yeah, but I mean, for the most part, he has a one-man army. But I guess the only reason why the story I thought was a little weaker is that the villain himself was kind of weak. I think if they started off from the get-go, if you knew Solvik was the villain, it would have been good. But for the most part, we had the other guy, Krindo. He was a weak villain. He sucked. And the Idril as a whole were just kind of stupid species, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree.
However, I thought this was a nice game. It's a shame that, you know, Raven, and this was made with Rich Roll as well, but it's a shame that this was the last. I'm not sure how they would have continued this, but you know, anything could have been possible, as you said, and it was nice. It was a nice lead, you know, something to come after Nemesis. So it's nice to see that, even though Nemesis was a little more depressing because of how it wasn't all that great, it's nice to see that this one was just saying, "Hey guys, this is a little more fun. We're just trying to make it cool." Those are my feelings on it, and it was a fun game. I guess that's my overall opinion. I just kind of wish it was available on Steam or something, because right now, I mean, it's dirt cheap on Amazon, as I said before, but there's really no real way to get this game beyond that. So I wish it was an easier way, because especially when you have like Windows 7, it's a lot harder to install older games. Speaking of which, if you collect all the secrets, you have a little secret menu and you can explore stuff. So that's that, and thank you for listening to our commentary, and we'll catch you all later.